Jimmy G will practice with the 49ers for the first time this year today.
Here we go, Jimmy. Go.
He's been watching their practices from afar, behind the media, behind the fans on another field, so he can go and rehab his surgically repaired throwing shoulder that happened off the season. He's been doing that away from the team, away from the meetings, so that there's no confusion on who the starting quarterback is. This is Trey Lance's team.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
For now. Man,
Unless he
there's
sucks.
a fucking handsome Italian guy on that field right over there. He's led us to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship whenever he's healthy. When he's hurt, we fucking suck, but... I mean, maybe, right? We saw what that guy was missing throws. Let's bring him back. Bang. Will you restructure your deal to make a lot less money than what you're guaranteed, but probably more than what you would make on the market if you were to be cut right now? Jimmy says yes. He's back in there. He's back at practice. Will there be rusty? But no. Jimmy's been around, right? He knows the deal.
He'll be sharp.
He's been in the building, too.
Yeah.
He's been rehabbing in the building. It's not that big of a deal, is it?
Knows the offense, and he'll be getting scout team reps now. So it's gonna be an interesting dynamic. I hope that locker room can handle it. Great move for Jimmy. But Trey, man, that's tough on Trey.
Trey was asked by Shanahan about how he's going to handle the situation, if it'll be okay or whatever. I don't know if Shanahan was asking for approval to bring back Jimmy G, but Shanahan on how
conversation to have.
It is great conversation. I don't think you can say, "Hey, Trey, it's your second year. You've played next to no football. Do you mind if we do something?" But Shanahan at least talking to him is a smart move and a smart play and setting the dynamic up for the rest of the year. When I told Trey that Jimmy was going to come back, he said, "Awesome." That dude was awesome for me last year. When you have a quarterback room that likes each other, it makes it more enjoyable to come to work, says Trey to Shanahan to the reporters.
There we go.
Okay.
Settled.
Not a problem at all, it sounds like.
Settled.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good.
Also,
Story's over.
like, I know it's been kind of tongue-in-cheek, and I don't know who they play the first week, but, like,
Chicago.
Okay, so probably not, but what if the 49ers go 3-and-out on their first 3 possessions and the Bears scored like 2 touchdowns and they're down like 14-0 in the first quarter? Like, isn't like the allure to be like, all right, fuck it, bring in Jimmy G. Like, that's going to happen.
So that's what I've been saying this entire time.
Yeah.
And a lot of media people told me that I'm a child and I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's going to be hard for me, just as somebody who has sat on a sideline of a lot of games. A lot of games. I've been on the sideline, front row seat, heard conversations that most people don't get to hear, watched the game from a better perspective than everybody else got to. As soon as somebody starts sucking that isn't necessarily, like, it's hard for everybody else on the team not to be like, hey, weren't we fucking just...
Impossible.
It's impossible for people not to do that. Even if you have as little input on strategy or the game as the fucking punter, it's hard not to be like, hey, when we were running like 2-minute offense, we're fucking going right down the field. Is there anybody, who can we talk to? Hey, how come you guys aren't fucking doing this? Like, that happens. These are just natural things that take place. If Trey comes out there and he's throwing these fucking Tim Wakefield balls that he was throwing against Houston, it is going to be hard for everybody. And that's why I've said this. It's going to be hard for everybody not to be like, okay, maybe a couple weeks, so we give Trey a couple more weeks. It's going to be difficult. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think as early as the first game, but AB asked me this on the pod this morning, and he was
man-to-man podcast currently live.
Man-to-man pod. So he asked me, kind of put the GM head coach hat on. What do you do if you get to week 5 and they're 1-4? What do you? Or if they're 2-2, what do you do? If they're 1-4, I'm like, hey, we just keep riding with Trey. We keep riding with Trey. We got to go. We're all invested in this. Shanahan and Lynch, they already signed an extension. They're going to be good. You're kind of 2-2, but the quarterback is stinking. Now you maybe make a switch. You're 500, 3-2, maybe
1-4, we're dead.
1-4, you kind of dead. 0-4,
No, last year.
It's different. So it really depends. But as a player, you can't take any years for granted. Like, as a coach, as a GM, maybe you can say, okay, to trust the process type shit. But as a player, that doesn't exist. You don't want to be a free agent, coming off of 5-12 football team. Like, you want to win every year. AB played 14 years and went to 2 Super Bowls. I played 9, only had 1 AFC championship appearance. Like, you never know when you're going to get there and if you can ever get back. So the players, it get quick. 2, 3, 4 games, you're like, shit, this guy
Practices
Jimmy.
even, though. Like, they'll see in practice. Like, all these conversations that they're going to have to somehow monitor so they don't become actual cancers in the locker room. And that sounds like such a shot at the locker room, and I don't mean it to be, because there's OGs in that locker room. There's a lot of people that are supposed to, kind of take care of the vibes of the locker room. That's a big part of a team-building process. But just natural human instinct is like, this guy's impossible to get a hold of in the offseason because he's probably on an island fucking somebody. But, like, whenever he's on our team and he's playing for us, we win. Like, it's going to be very difficult not to do that, especially with a team that's ready to go. Like, that team's ready to fucking go right now, and they all know it. I love Trey. I hope Trey is incredible. I think what we were told by Lombardi himself yesterday, like, hey, there's days where Trey's unstoppable. So I think us just assuming Trey's going to suck is also kind of a slight. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But if he does, I'm not assuming he's going to suck. But if he does, it's going to get fucking loud. And that's just, I don't know how you stop that. I don't know how you stop humans that have a direct benefit or direct loss from somebody else's performance from not having an opinion of like.
You don't, because he hasn't earned it, right? When you watch those games, he only played, a handful of games, and you're like, has this guy earned this, or is this happening because he was the 3rd overall pick and they gave up a lot of draft
that means he earned it. That's what that means. And
nature of the beast.
That's why we don't know how you fucking monitor. I don't know how you monitor it.
Well, even if they're 1-4, like last year they started off terrible and they still made it on in the playoffs. Like if you're 1-4 and you look at that back half of the schedule, like we looked at yesterday, like the first 5 games are probably the easiest. Like it only gets harder. If you go with Jimmy, you might have a chance to sneak in, but like, why would you just quit on the season at 1-4? The Colts started off terrible. The Patriots started off terrible.
And then what?
And then they made a run.
You guys.
And then, we didn't lose. Actually, we did lose the last game of the season, but we already clinched. You guys lost the last game of the season.
What did Lombo say to us? Lombo said, good teams start good.
Start and finish. Yeah.
He said, like, the storyline is always, this team could get good. And he's like, stats tell us that that's not.
Yeah.
Like, teams that don't start good aren't going to win the Super Bowl. And I wanted to combat him immediately and be like, no, the Giants. Remember, Coughlin was about to get fired middle of the season. They were like, whatever it was, and then they went on a run. They win the Super Bowl. They beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And then I wanted to think of another example, and I just couldn't do it. It was like, I just couldn't.
The Packers, right?
So while he was giving his answer, I couldn't really. Yeah, that's 2 times though. Like.
Oh no, exactly. Yeah,
in like
rare.
20 years or whatever, 30 years. I mean, it is like teams got to start good. Yeah. So if you don't start good, I think to back up what Darius was saying, stats say you're probably going to be fucked anyways. You might as well give Trey an entire season, I think is what you were saying.
They're tied to him. They're tied to his success. Lynch and Shanahan. He has to be good at some point.
They signed Jimmy too, though.
Now you got Jimmy. You got no trade clause, so you can't just ride that wave this year and give Trey another year and then have some trade packages maybe. But Trey's got to be good, and it's unfair to him.
Trey can be good.
It's unfair to him because once again, you look at the crop of quarterbacks, the guys that did play the full year last year: Mac Jones, Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. Like most of those guys struggled mightily, except for Mac. Mac had a pretty good year, but it's a lot on his plate.
No bowl.
Yeah, he had a pretty good year, no bowl, but still got absolutely tattooed in the playoffs. So
that's the whole
thing. Made the playoffs with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
dude. That's
spent $150.
Which is what they're going to have to go through. Kind of this year, Niners are going to have to go through.
He's basically going to be a rookie.
It's his first time seeing a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's what's tough.
So you get into a big game when it matters, like Mac did. Mm-hmm. Like there's a chance teams are going to do a little shit a little bit different than maybe everybody else did because it's the playoffs and it matters. And that's when the inexperience here it is, especially in a position where you have to dissect shit. Like, it's just natural. I don't know. I feel like we're all staring down the same outcome here. If Trey is an anomaly and comes in and is just freak show, Jimmy G will be an incredible backup like he was. I assume Tom Brady will be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if he struggles at all with that team, it's going to get loud. Let's get to a break. Hour 2 will be on the other side with AJ Hawk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, welcome back, Jimmy.
Here we go.
He's back in meetings.
Yeah.
That's what Jimmy likes to do.
Practicing with pads.
They say they can't get a hold of Jimmy in the offseason because he's watching film.
There you go.